I am responsible for all of our diversity and inclusion programs and partnerships at Cintas. What that entails is our leadership development training for diversity and inclusion for all of our more than 40,000 employee partners. I am also responsible for our veterans hiring as well as our hiring of people with disabilities. In addition to that, we have 4 partner business resource groups that I am responsible for as well. In all of that, our goal is to make sure that Cintas is an employer of choice, as well as providing a diverse and inclusive work environment for all. So it doesn't matter if it's race, age, gender, ability. We just want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do in order to provide an inclusive work environment. When you're talking about people who are different, regardless to whether it's abilities, age, gender, whatever the case may be, I would say teaching and having those courageous conversations around, again, those biases that creep up. We all have biases. That's a known fact. So dealing with those head on to say, hey, this is a bias of mine, but how can I push through that? Another key element would be communication. In terms of hiring people with disabilities, I think that is very, very important to communicate what your needs are and what you're looking for with those companies that you are interviewing with. For example, if there is a job coach that needs to participate in the interview process, communicate that before the interview. Have a relationship with the HR manager or the hiring manager and let them know what it is that you need in order to make sure that the candidate is very comfortable in the setting. In addition to that, I would say interview the company just as they're interviewing you. During our job search, we have a tendency to, the first job that comes along when you've been looking for a long period of time, you'll say, hey, I have a job offer, but make sure that this is the company for you. Make sure that they are willing to make those reasonable accommodations that you need. Make sure that it is an open and inclusive environment, because what we don't want is to have an individual, whether it's a person with different abilities or what have you, to join a company and then realize that that's not the place for them, because then that can actually cause setbacks, and so it will do more harm than good. So I think that those are the key things, and those are things that we take very seriously and are very intentional about at Cintas. I think it is in terms of making sure that all of our candidates, people with different abilities or people with disabilities who are applying for work, I would say make sure that you focus in the areas that you are good in. So taking time to co-op with companies and organizations that provide areas of opportunity that you're interested in, as well as making sure to communicate to the HR managers and the hiring managers all the things that you need beforehand and while you're there, so that you can have a successful partnership with the company. I just believe in, we call it diversity and inclusion, but I just believe in the human factor and fairness for all humans. Again, talking about the traditionally marginalized communities, whatever those communities are, I just believe that everyone deserves an equitable and fair opportunity to make it in this world. So, the author Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote in his book, Lessons to My Son, and one thing he said was, don't think about the masses, but think about that one person and how the situation affected that one individual. When you start to think about the masses, it seems like a very daunting task, but when you think about that individual who wakes up in the morning and has to deal with mistreatment or misunderstanding over and over again, how does that impact that one individual? So for me, it's just about helping one individual at a time.